It's about the Washington Wizards. Obviously, they've had a pretty shite season. You know, they started the Jordan Poole, Carl Kuzma era. So you basically want to call it an error because it basically all went wrong.
Yeah.
But obviously, Wes Unseld Jr. was the coach for a while. Yeah, there you go. That was the guy I was thinking of. Yeah. And now, obviously, he was relieved of his duties during the season, I believe, by former Nets assistant coach Brian Keefe, who did a really bad job. But at the end of the day, the Wizards are a shit show, and all Brian Keefe has known was the Nets shit show. And it was just announced, I think yesterday or 2 days ago, that he will be the full-time head coach for the 24-25 season. So I'll go over to you first, Gio, because I know Antoine's got a lot to talk about with the Wizards. Just want to know what you think on the future of the Wizards, and I'll just to give you some context. I know you're not as familiar with them. Obviously, they got Poole, they got Kuzma, they got some young talent with Bilal Coulibaly. They have the second pick in this year's draft, which could basically be anybody that's not named Alex Sarr. I keep whacking my headphones. Do you see this as a good move for the franchise moving forward, and why?
Okay, I'm not gonna lie to you. I completely turned off to the Wizards after Westbrook left. So all I know about the Wizards is that they used to have Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal, and they went to the playoffs and lost in the first round to the Boston Celtics. That's the last thing I know about the Wizards.
I hope you know that Beal's gone.
Yeah,
Okay.
I know that part.
Yeah, he definitely.
I know that part. But
So yeah.
But what do I think about?
Just what do you think about the Wizards? Just the state of Washington, kind of moving forward, because
Technically, it is.
Well,
no, it's not a state.
well, no, I'm not talking about the state Washington. I'm talking about the state of the
Okay.
Washington
Of the
Wizards.
Wizards.
Got you.
Yeah.
Got you. I
Yeah.
just had to make you clarify that one.
Yeah, I don't want to look like a
know.
buffoon.
Okay.
But yeah,
So
essentially just where the franchise is at in your opinion, and where you see they can go from there. So I'll let you cook up for a bit.
Who are they projected to draft? Do we know? You said anyone but Alex Sarr.
Anyone but Alex Sarr. They have the second pick.
They have the second pick.
So.
Well, I would also argue that we could probably see Sarr not go number one. I feel like it could be a thing with Paolo happened 2 years ago.
Not a chance.
Because I was hearing like the Hawks might like Risa Shea.
No, that's who the Wizards are probably going to get.
Yeah, I don't know, but I think this could be a thing with like a few years ago when Paolo went number one when he was not supposed to go number one. I think they're both great. I think Sarr should be number one because they need a bigger body. Risa Shea is like a small forward.
He's not fit for Atlanta. They have Jalen Johnson.
I don't
Okay,
think,
yeah, so-
yeah, I would hope it's Sarr.
It's going to be.
It's going to be Sarr.
Pass up on him.
If the Hawks pass on Alex Sarr, I think they should relocate the franchise. That's how bad of a decision it would
Yeah,
be.
I don't know.
But yeah, go ahead, Gio.
I mean, obviously the Wizards, they haven't been. I don't think they've ever been good.
Even with Russ, they haven't been good.
They've
Yeah.
never been good. And so, because of their history, I'm a history guy. I love history. It's one of my favorite subjects. And because of the history, I'm going to say they're just going to stay right here. Maybe even get a little worse.
Really?
Yeah. But, yeah, I don't see them doing anything at all. In the next 5 years, I don't see anything, especially with the team they have constructed right now. But, of course, the NBA is so unpredictable. A team can change like drastically within 1 or 2 years.
Right. I mean, we all thought the Pistons were going to be playing contenders this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Do
we really think that?
The Pistons were not trying to tank. They had a good core.
Right.
They were ready. And we thought they were going to make the play-in. We were talking about it in net spaces all year long.
Right.
I mean, all offseason long. And then they lose 28 straight. The Wizards had lost like 18 straight up until that point. So did San Antonio, but it all got swept under the rug because the Pistons. It happened at the same time. There was a stretch during the season when the Pistons, the Wizards, and the Spurs lost 58 games combined. The only win in that span was when the Wizards beat the Pistons.
That's
pretty funny.
historically trash.
That's very funny.
I've never seen 3 teams at the same time play as bad as they did.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
I think so. Going what they have right now, Avdia took a big step this year. They needed a lot from him.
I do like him.
Most
Bilal,
improved candidate.
yeah, Bilal is still raw. They're gonna let him develop. Kispert was another pick of theirs from Zaga, 3-point guys, kind of eh. I think their biggest question mark is Kuz and Poole. I think one has to go, free up money. I think Poole's the one that's going to get to go, but who's going to take on that contract?
I disagree.
You think you would want? I think they could both leave.
I think no.
I'm fine with either or.
I think Poole's gonna play better
Okay.
I just think right now you're getting all you're going to get from Kuzma. I think he just needs to go to another team as like a third option.
But didn't Kuz have the opportunity to go to Dallas and he denied it?
Well, that's not his fault. I think
he denied it.
He denied it himself, or did the Wizards?
Because he said, I'm pretty sure he said he didn't want to play with Luka. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But I think that's what he said. They're in the finals now.
Well, hindsight's 2020, right? The Dallas.
No, I'm talking about recently.
No, but I'm talking about at the trade deadline.
Oh, okay.
The Mavs were not good. They got hot right after that.
Right.
So PJ Washington's much more a better fit for that team than Kuzma.
Right now, yeah.
Okay.
That's besides the point. I do think Kuzma needs to go where he needs somewhere where his role he'll maximize his play.
Yeah.
I think Poole can definitely play better. I don't know where Poole's fit is. I don't know what his future's like.
No.
It's hard to tell.
I think it's much easier to trade Poole because he would want to go anywhere. Kuz is more picky with where he would want to go.
Who's going to want to take on
Poole's
making so much money. One of the worst contracts I've ever seen.
It's so bad.
But he still has a lot of potential.
He does. Yeah. That's fair. But at the end of the day, when you go from the best bench player on a championship team to completely shitting the bed and then getting benched on the Washington Wizards in 2024, how does that happen? Yeah. So I think his trade value is very low. He definitely needs to get it up. I think there's some there, but
if he's thrown into a horrible situation.
If he gets better in the first half of next season and is a trade deadline guy for people to buy, move him.
Yeah, I think so. It's hard to tell because he's locked in for another 3 years. I think at least you give it at least another year, and then you can start taking calls.
Okay.
Because I think they'll take calls. He's not untouchable, but they'll take calls on him, and nothing will probably happen. Because who's gonna make a championship move for Jordan Poole?
Nobody.
Because like as a sixth man or as like a third or fourth option, he's good. Yeah, but he's making over $30 million a year. Who's gonna want to pay that?
No.
In this new CBA with all these restrictions, it's just not gonna happen.
Yeah.
I think the problem with Washington, for me at least, they had so many. Like if all of them played together now, they'd be a playoff team. Wow. Everyone just got good at the wrong time. Everyone got good at different times. So Rui maximized his value, but they sucked. No one else was good, so they traded him.
Right.
Porzingis, same deal. Gafford, same thing. So you need the Wizards drafted so poorly over this like past half decade, at the very least, in the sense of they drafted based on, instead of drafting on fit. Once you had your core guys, they started drafting on development. They went too far into development in the sense that you need a good fit around your guys, because if you don't, then you're not going to win games.
Well, here's the thing, though. Who are their guys? Who are they drafting around? They don't have that guy that they can draft around.
This draft is going to be there because Tyus Jones is a free agent. That's their point guard.
Right. Well,
he's going to be gone.
He's gone.
And from just drafting recently, they've taken on international guys. I could see them getting a Topic to run point. He could be their guy.
They have their guy now in Bilal Coulibaly. He is the one. He is like this with Wemby. He trained with Wemby. He played on the Mets 92 team with Wemby. Like, he is going to be really good. He's not going to be Wemby level, but that's the guy they want to build around.
That's the guy they're taking number 2.
No, they took him.
Bilal was last year.
He's on the team already.
Yeah, he's on the team already. This is the guy that this is the only player that was untouchable at the trade deadline. Okay. Everyone else was available.
How did he do this past season?
He was okay.
He got hurt, so he didn't really play as much.
But he has a lot of upside.
He has very much upside.
Okay.
Yes.
He'll be really good.
This is their guy.
Because I was hoping we could trade up into the top 10 to draft him, but I know the Nets weren't going to do that. But I do think they have a future with him. And whether you keep Poole or not, I think you can easily trade for some young pieces around Bilal Coulibaly and whoever they draft it to. That could be the guy.
Yeah.
Right? So we don't know. I think it's so confusing with Washington because they didn't hire an experienced head coach and they don't have the greatest GM, and they're trying to move to Virginia, but obviously they can't now because of that stupid clause in their DC contract that there's like 2040. So it's a bit of a mess. There's, at least with other situations like Detroit and like Charlotte, there's new people in, and there's a young core that's firm and that's, solid, ready to go. I don't know what the future holds for Washington, and it concerns me for them because I think it's going to be the same season of playing sub-20 win basketball.
Wow.
The Wizards need a direction. And and as experiencing, I'm stuttering, I don't know why. I'm experiencing from the Nets season about not having a direction. I think the Wizards are in the same boat with us in the sense that they have a young star.
I think two. Abdi and Coulibaly.
Right. I think they have either or.
Yeah.
But you have the young star just like we do with Cam Thomas. And I think they can progress to be all-stars, right? And there's just a ton of dysfunction around the organization, around them, with bad coaching, bad development, poor drafting, and just being lazy at the trade deadline.
Yeah.
And I think that's the important thing with the Wizards. I think they really need to just find some sense of direction, either try and build around what you have and make a play-in push, or just blow it up and rebuild, go development mode, let everyone run their course, right? Let the Nuggets finish what they have to do. Let the Mavericks, let everyone, because at the end of the day, the only team I see being competitive in the future is Indiana and San Antonio, and OKC, obviously. So, and you can even throw Memphis in there. But I think right now you already have the all-time greats duking it out. Like, the Wizards are not going to compete with them. Like, even if you make a miracle run to the finals, because in the East you just got to get past Boston, essentially. So, but yeah, this segment's gone on for a little bit longer than we had anticipated. But any final thoughts, just any closing words with the Wizards and any early predictions for next season for them?
I mean, if they get their guy in the second pick this year, they should see improvement. Like, I wouldn't say steady, like, play-in improvement, but I think on the cusp of getting there.
Yeah.
I would hope that's improvement for them.
They'll be 1 year away from playing next year.
Yeah.
I have a hot take. I think they're going to tank for Cooper Flag.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That could be something.
Tank for Cooper.
I don't think they're good enough to be in the playoffs. I just don't think they will.
I think that's either that or Detroit type.
I hope for Cooper's sake that he doesn't go to Washington.
I hope he does, because I think that will kind of kickstart them. They just need something. Like, they need anything at this rate.
Okay.
Because I don't know what the deal is with Washington, but there's been so much notable discourse around and dysfunction around the league, like with us when we blew it up, with the Jazz when they blew it up. Everyone's kind of just forgetting about Washington because of the Pistons, I think, because they were so bad. But the Pistons are set up better for the future.